ASIWAJU nilai bisitani rajim bismillah rahmani rahim. Today we tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, thank you for just another beautiful, beautiful day, especially for we, the Muslim Ummah. As a matter of fact, now ready so for come, go down at the masjid, for meet up the Juma, because today that Friday, we are one of the holiest days in the lives of all Muslims here. And they pray all the imams them, the sheikhs them, where they go up that the member today for bring Allah in what? Now people them we get in taqwa, now people them way sincere, way honest, and we go make sure say when they up the member, the message where they bring to the citizens them or to fellow Muslims them, that one way go now they hate the left that they had, because the only message where they go bring that the truth. Nothing else the truth, because if an imam or sheikh they up the member, then you're not able the khutbah way they give, not grounded in the truth, then there's no need for the. But we they ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, say all the imams and the sheikhs them where they go up the member today for bringing what now the one that we really we're supposed for the day, because they get in taqwa, and not only that, they get blessing, they get support and getting guidance. Today the talk not going to be very long, because of our megabytes. The talk now for come express solidarity with them, the citizens in Nigeria, where they demonstrate, the constitutional right for protest. That now a right that way they inside the constitution, that the rights and the only caveat to that, as long as they do them in a way that way go Hamburg, anything must say it is not to chaos, violence, destruction of property or loss of life. As long as they not do that, what they do illegitimately right. Afterwards, TINUBU also join demonstration. You don't join demonstration. Now, we can't talk waiting at the real causative agents for this kind of a problem within Nigeria. We know they ever end. The problem within Nigeria is just born in one thing, out of one thing. This kleptocracy, where they don't take say the modus operandi of government. This don't they from antiquity. It don't they since where the black people they take over the Nigeria October 1, 1960, when they get independent. Take to now at the talk so. Waiting happen. Every leader or every government will come. Na kleptocracy the way of governance. We go to the government of Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, where we did it. The Minister of Finance now been the richest man at that place, Festus Ekute Ebo. Now he be the richest man in Nigeria. The Minister of Finance, what we need. Corruption and they make then fellow them where we come, where we remove them the 5 majors. We can remove them January 15, 1966. In fact, 2 of them write books. One Adewale Moringa, he write a book he act Why We Struck. Then the other one, Ben Boule, Captain Ben Boule, instead write a book where he talk about the reasons them where make them take over, although they not succeed. But at least one of them, the things of them bad governance, but especially the institutionalized kleptocracy, where be the modus operandi of governance, then they put it. From the time of the 30 day, government say where they can't prepare. The only thing where they're good at, stealing. Then we go back now, law even to where that man come, President Shagari come inside. In your government, the chief head man for chief man, now be a minister of transport and of communication, where Buhari there, we want when they put in a crate, so them we want bring back to Nigeria. The man now be the head for the chief man they inside Shagari government. Now make the pull them. They come. Buhari himself come back in power. 83, then come back in power 83. Kleptocracy after kleptocracy, kleptocracy after kleptocracy. And Uda actually, I mean, the alikali for that. Somebody like how you call him, this fellow when they call Abacha. Abacha na ina been the na ina been the head man, the alikali for Tishman, and they that say, but then now the other guy, Babangida, where he come August 27, 1985. The wealth of Nigeria of Obasanjo, I mean, the support Babangida, virtually they get up. And that also go for Obasanjo itself. If people they go to Mina, then they see the kind of a palace where that man with Babangida where he be. But if even he put all in emoluments together, where he get as a military, officer, where we get it, you know which that. But look, the kind of ostentatious lifestyle then that go for Obasanjo itself, then that they cascade to Abacha where it take over. So the extent America get for begin go na their country, then they will send a thief money they let it send them back to Nigeria. Nigeria not get any reason for go to what they go to. Nigeria not get any reason for they go to blackout. They not get no reason for do that. Nigeria not get any reason for let people in the staff because they get everything in abundance where God give them. They get able land where they do agriculture. They get then a part of OPEC, and we all know it's now OPEC, that organization of petroleum, countries and they are part of. But Nigeria, they live in darkness. What an irony and contradiction. When an oil producing country, then when they go through that, they fear shortage. If they ask the question, what's wrong? Why Saudi Arabia not they go through this kind of material? They not they go through shortages, electricity shortages, or all anything. What they do, they harness their own resources together, where the citizens they benefit out of. But these guys in Nigeria, they are nothing but kleptocrats. As a matter of fact, one senator, as a matter of fact, he actually referred to this present government where they in power. He referred to him. He said they're kleptocrats. And this is real. This is not the problem with Nigeria. Now the deliberate stealing, the shameless thieving, the heartless thieving. So the citizens, they say they don't get enough. They don't get enough. So the thing, the message to this guy with in power now, TINUBU with in power, you got to be reminded of the fact that that's what they call people power. You not go able to defeat people power. The citizens, as long as they don't resort to violence and destruction of property, they prepare for bringing your government down. They prepare for cripple you. We see that we will read history. We see that what happened now. India. One man, Mahatma Gandhi, he alone bring down the British government in Nigeria. He bring, India, not to true violence, not to destruction of property there, but the strike where he organized now eventually lead to independence na India, August 1947. I mean, where they split Pakistan get their own, then India get their own. But the thing where that man they do, Mahatma Gandhi do, now it lead to independence because it was a sit-down strike, it was a boycott, and they were very determined. They not capitulate to nothing. Similarly, so other countries they also don't must say American. Martin Luther King, he was never part of violence, even though he be a victim of violence, but he was never part of violence. Not been in at that time, school or that class. But the power of demonstration and protest, it bring a lot of changes there. So we see the civil rights bill we passed there. Black people, they begin vote. Women, they begin vote. Wait to see the beneficiary of that protest the way Martin Luther King them they do. Now lead to Obama in election as president. Now the way that yes, they alive, foresee the gains it. But that could always be in legacy, the enduring legacy. The sacrifices the way people like Martin Luther King they do, for enhance and sustain humanity. Now make an equality also. Now make this man Obama become now the next way they get for let woman become president of this country, and the next way they get for, except by any encumbrance system where go stand in the way of. But looking at things at a very likely say a minority person they can't be president of this country, and besides a female they can't be president of this country. All these are the power of the demonstration, the protest for people they the civil rights and constitutional rights and all that thing. Now it lead. Now the factor they now they will lead to that. So we tell God thank you. So watching the people that they do in Nigeria, they absolutely right. Now the correct thing, and the hope is the people them where the security forces, especially the army, led by Lagbaja, when the chief of army staff, Lagbaja, and Christopher Musa, when the chief of defense staff. In other words, now they in charge of the entire armed forces and the army, navy, and air force. Now in charge of the boss and the hope is whatever instructions them where then people are where TINUBU give them for let them crack down on the people, let them not do it. Because the thing is, these are the guys and they are where they talk against waiting the happen Palestine. I mean, the Gaza Strip and Israel. They are out there condemning Benjamin Netanyahu. They are so, but we're not going to condemn one person for perpetrating violence, but they they do it. Now, blatant hypocrisy than and Orwellian double standard or double speak nine. If they condemn Netanyahu for which they do accuse them of human rights violation, they won't necessarily not for them. The people them that they talk to, they get the right for protest. They get the right for protest. Now the constitutional right. But above all, now the human freedom, now the right that what they do, in other words, now message they send against, the political class. Then they tell us say no, the system of governance are for change. Now this we want. And the thing is, no matter what TINUBU they do, the people them, no matter yes, now is done as to rock villa, when are the people in the office and are they hosting and they sleep. And then they appear for living at the office, then they appear for in the sleep day. All they require for a good governance they want. So in need for understanding, no matter what you do, the people's might big passer. The people's might big past the armed forces. The people's might, when they don't resolve, say this now go be. So people like what TINUBU need for listen to the people there, in need for negotiate with them, because now on their behalf that they mandate, even though in kind of power under very questionable circumstances, because like we talk 10 days here, you talk about 96 million registered voters them, almost percent you get 36%. I mean, I go get only 36%, then they make you president. That don't even meet the threshold. Okay, the citizens they endure all that. At the very least, now forget your priorities together. Waiting a while now, do not cut down that ostentatious and opulent lifestyle them. Then boku things say what they do, where not they in harmony with their legitimate aspirations, the while cut them down. The government, the bureaucracy too large. It's just about too large and unnecessary. For example, you get too many presidential fleets. Waiting now and go order for more presidential fleet. God alone knows why we now want to do this. Una lifestyle not reflect the economic reality, and this is why the people they not come out say they go continue for demonstrate. And if there's anything where you not remember this. Now the road to you being a one-time president 90s. Let me repeat this. TINUBU, if there's nothing where you not go member na yeah, you party on a one-time presidency 90s, because right now, as it is, the citizens, their minds are made up. They're not. So now they send you that shit. Now this is a common event. Now common event. Waiting for Apple 2027. One I get for go back for election 9 in the train or so. Now the result then there were then they make that you know. Say not even waste 441. You wake up and you although you know they lie about your age, you lie about your age, but everybody knows say that age number will be not lie. So that's the one factor will work against you. And you know in the state of health, will go make you go through the rigors of that office. So all of those factors, but above all though, as far as the citizens in conservative they not see so far, they not see nothing. They not see nothing where for give the impetus for return you to power 2027. That if you even they alive up to that same day, if you they alive, say there's not even way to tell. Just consider this like you now because you don't effect, you don't effect for me president. You do everything for me president. You now resort to Machiavellian tactics for become president. That's fine. The citizen, okay, they are, but now one thing the citizen they don't go accept. They will never accept bad governance. They will never accept bad governance. Then go make uncertain in the actions. They are prepared for ground you administration. They prepare for make you become the most irrelevant person we don't ever occupy the presidency in Nigeria. They prepare for make you become a colossal failure. Believe me, Tinubu. You only bet you best option out of this. You don't get no other way out of this. You don't get no other way out of. When see this, it's so important that I say I did do this podcast before I go pray, so that my listeners and supporters, fans, and they will follow, because this is very important. Because today, when August 1, 9, anything, as I talk, because before I can drive check with Arise News. For see what it's gone. Yeah, we see all the police them, we see all the army. Yes, then that's on them. But now one thing, Tinubu, you need to understand the ICC. You know they play with leaders them where they brutalize citizens. They are not playing. Even now what they talk, the Prime Minister in Israel Netanyahu and the whatever leader the Palestinian leader or whatever it is, they are under indictment by the ICC. So they're not allowed any more human rights violations. You know, when they use that as a tool for suppress people that you're not. This is not a legitimate protest. Forgive gravitas to the argument, say this is not legitimate protest. You, Tinubu, you have been part of demonstrations against what you call bad governance. I mean, it is there. Everybody they follow, except you and they follow politics. Me, I say God thank you. And they follow politics religiously in Nigeria. But all the African countries, who start to follow politics more than Nigeria. Now that make sure say I get a station where that they are the tune, and I can tell I didn't tell anybody. You get the Arise News station. The morning, the afternoon, and the night, how they call it. Now the best news outlet in Nigeria. Now, because they get very seasoned, competent, and professionally highly minded reporters or journalists and where they. So now that they give me a lot of inroads into Nigerian politics. A lot of inroads. I know they watch no station. I know they listen to any other one other than Arise News. Now they get news even from the other African countries because as well they are out international, so they cover other places. So I take solace in that. Thank God, thank you. So whilst upholding and supporting the people them where they demonstrate today and where they not tell Tinubu how long they do, I also want briefly touch on Guinea. I want to touch briefly on Guinea. That is Camara, I think say the name would that be leader. one way or the other. Yesterday, me sources them na Guinea tell me say they don't pass the verdict on them. You see, now again I want to tell them, my friends say na Guinea plenty thank you. Where they make me part of them, where they give me accreditation. So meaning that then they give me access for follow within the happen day. I tell God thank you. Yesterday, the man were responsible for hooking me up, with Guinea, we make me a journalist, Mr. Usman Bangura. I want to thank you. He give me a briefings. He give me a briefings on the set of things that Guinea. Mr. Darius Kamara and some of the people there, sentence them. But wait through the years so that in the Kamara, he gets strong support within the armed forces. He gets support within the armed forces. Apparently, sometimes the armed forces is divided. So the thing is, waiting not happen so yesterday, nobody no go take and say that a slam dunk business and we don't know waiting your supporters and that the armed forces go do. We don't know what they go do. But for me, source waiting, I understand. Instead, you get followers, you get supporters. So Mamadi Doumbouya not for just take her for granted, say, they don't sideline the guy, they don't pull him, they say. Instead, as further, me source na Guinea determine, I mean, then they try for, organize the political parties there, let the whole elections and everything. But the hope is, assuming they do that, waiting in it for do, in for resign, because if he then at the armed forces, then they go to election, he go there with a greater advantage over the other people there. He go there at a greater advantage over there. So the playing field not will be equal. So waiting in it for do, if for even resign the armed forces, yes, you got the right for contest the election. But if I do as a civilian, if I don't step out of the position where they pan, so that way they will be a level field forever. But if he remain as head of Guinea now, where he run that job today, the chance for they start the election in favor, the chance for because they go manipulate everything, because they go in charge of everything, they go in charge of the electoral commission. Now, just about everything, the machinery of the thing. So that will go and may come up with better results. And we don't know if the citizens then will accept any rigged election. Because the thing is, we don't reach a door now where citizens then they challenge, elections them. There are any elections them will not reflect the legitimate aspirations of the citizens. They know they take up. They are dead, so they don't go take up. They are prepared for die for them for democracy, for the rule of law. They are prepared for sacrifice their lives, for stand up to the dictators, the totalitarian leaders, the human rights abusers, because these guys are nothing more other than, in addition to the fact that kleptocracy then they run. Kleptocracy then they run. The good number of them guys, the reason why they come and power, so that they go able to live very ostentatious and opulent lifestyle, compared to people that waiting at then, Western industrialized democracies like America, England, Germany, France, and all that. The guys say where they go there for power, they know they go there for power for acquire wealth. No. The reason is that before they go into power, seeking office, they've already made it outside. They've already made it outside the zone. So when they go there, it is, now the prestige, the influence, and all that. Now the president, but they are not going there for the financial gains. Now that means for letting them demit the office, for letting them commodity, it not take them no minute. It not take them. The other day, about a week ago, I don't forget the country where I think that the prime minister, something like that, the prime minister, now one of the Scandinavian countries, we see the way where he left office, where he don't hand over power to the next person waiting over. Now, bicycle now he ride, it just escaped me, where I not be not keep that day somewhere where I go. It did not, a man where just left office. Once he don't formally hand power over to his successor, Now bicycle that man they ride they go a bicycle. How many leaders and go do that? The Africa. That are the difference between the African leaders or third world with them people that are within the European countries. So the power, like the top power, it's just now just means of service. That's just like way Martin Luther King me talk say, not ask what in the country go do for you. Wait, you ask what you go do for you. That's one thing. They know they need ostentatious upland lifestyle. They know they live in extravagance, where they in excess of religion. Another typical example of that, or another person where optimize that kind of now the former chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, the same apartment where he been there as chancellor. Yeah, as chancellor. Now there even where he don't come out. Imagine, she was head of government. Now apartment he did. Other people in the apartment there. She never moved. He never go live now the palaces. In order to in husband and then they shape the work. I mean, they may not make a profile on the woman. If this they brook, this they cook, this they do that. You see, this is the thing. Now that may when white people then where they left power, they know they regret them at all because to them the powers on them. But the reason where this African guys say yeah, no, they left power. Where no go left because one, they were never prepared for get to they came into office by accident. And when they came to office by accident, the fundamental question when they ask is, oh, if I left all this now, how am I going to live? Now that make them go do everything possible for remain in power, everything possible. Violate people their rights, violate them, resort to violence against the citizens. Because to them, the only way, because they know so when once they don't come out from power, they become very irrelevant. Very, very irrelevant in the scheme of things. And at that night, they're not able to abide that day. They will not be demigods. How they go come up from being a demigod for can be an ordinary person. They cannot. So now that make most of the work is done when people they try for bring down, the Western people there. I can just they look them. Me already don't argue very strongly. No third world country not go bring down the Western people. Me rather prefer for live under them people, yeah. I prefer for live under them than for live under any third world country. Because waiting the third world country, they incubate bad governance, human rights abuses. Anybody not believe? Let's go back to Uganda. Waiting to happen in Uganda. They caught Museveni now get the country now in family. Now get the country. What they do now, you don't make position for your wife, in Pekin and all that. So where it come now they no more good. So the thing become a family property. Same way so as Paul Kagame. Yes, people are credited say Paul Kagame don't do that's fine. But there is a limit. Paul Kagame need to understand say he not get the magic wine for everything. He not to a utopia, not to get the solution to not to alone get sense or see how Rwanda will go before. Yes, he don't come, he don't do in your own. So it's about time that he step aside. It just like this country also. People like George Washington, and they came and did their own. They step aside. One thing about governance or government, now a matter of continuity, it continue. But when one man come, he thinks nana the be all and all, nana the yak na budu yak na stein, nana the alpha and omega, na in the society, that becomes something where they wonder how can any one man think say nana this in a utopia, in the society without him, the society not go function. No. Now fallacy than they. Now total fallacy than they. Total fallacy than they. There is so much you can do. Where you done, there you go. One of the reasons why African country is so insistent with military dictatorship. These are the things that when the citizens they don't get no way for rid themselves of the totalitarian, dictatorship there, and the egregious human rights abuses them. I'm not going to talk about the epistemic injustice where they take place. All of them saying it. Now that make then country, for example, now everybody now the irony, even the third world countries are now, because when they read then then news out there, everybody, the emphasis they now on Kamala Harris, where if things go well, Naing will become the nominee for the Democrats, and if looking at things, something Naing will want to be president. All attentions are then the question: why we say not go get attention on we your leaders? Why? Why all ten go for they pay attention to them? Now the the reason that they believe say power it they come up from the people. Now by the people them, and it they exist with a legitimate consent. Being in power, like I always, I don't know how many times I don't use this word here, and but I will continue for use them. Being in power, not to birthright. We need for make this patently clear. Not to divine right, not to constitute. I mean, not to circumstantial freedom. Power, now people, the ordinary people, the real people that we get power. The real people that we get power. Now the citizens that they get power. The citizens where the so-called leaders then they treat with attitude of benign neglect. The one there where they can turn for be condescending, against them, where they can be very dismissive about it. These are the people that they will really get the power now because now on the mandate, now they make the sidom now the executive, policies on the mandate, nothing else. Once the African leaders begin rationalize that, say they in power, not to because that they right for the that they vote them through the validity of the sanctity of the ballot box in a democratic exercise, and they're totally unencumbered by infractions of principles. That's not him, not the thing that way they make the sidom power. We don't know when they go understand that, when they go rationalize that. So now you need that power to the votes of the citizens. So, like I say, waiting the happen in Nigeria is so important that I say, you know what? Before I go pray, I can do this now. At least I get another 30 more minutes, so I call them, we go make I go pray. But this is very, very, very important for let the citizens, let them become my listeners and supporters and fans. And like I say, I've not come up with I don't come up with another system for oblige my supporters and fans and well wishers. Which I do now. Where this I don't done, I will also make an audio part of this, the audio part of this. Because the thing is not to everybody, everybody get the luxury, the access, and the ability for follow me now, Facebook and YouTube. Since I no one lost the audience, because the thing is, I therefore be very accommodating. I therefore be very understanding. I therefore go the extra mile for sacrifice for them if I want maintain me loyal fans, audience, and supporters them. So waiting I do, and hopefully when I come out that the master account, when I come, I go make audio. The audios out of waiting they do so now I do now. Mr. Say go streamline into an audio we go in all the the platforms there. I will do them small because if you do it too lengthy, then people then megabytes they don't be able to sustain them. So I will do at a break 5 minutes each, 5 minutes each. So 5 minutes. Just like I don't start yesterday. We I mean a lot of people are very happy about that. So in other words, what I try for do now for maintain both me audience, whilst at the same time I dey make it grow. And again, I will not tell una say una need for also subscribe to the Kutubu Koma YouTube. For example, me people in Guinea don't talk to you because we na much man outside today. This na very difficult thing this way I dey do. I dey do at my own time. I know they get paid, but I've never asked for pay. Waiting me colleagues in Guinea one then one let we upgrade this in such a way that even if I know the program will run every now and then get that technology for drug. All we need for do no more, we they send the money to them. They they try to they instrumentalize that technology. They now that make at the act una say una send something to me, not so for me. I mean, Lily, where I mean, I get, I tell God, take Alhamdulillah, he take care of me, I able pay me rent, I able, buy food. But then if they have money where I get for spend, I spend there, but all the time, they, but kutubu know because many times I can, but kutubu know you're not today, you don't pull that today, but these things are not free. Even then, people the way they work at the television stations, they're not free. How many they do commercials, they pay. So that'll be a bit reasonable, that'll be rational. I'm taking my time to come here and they do research for now. Because I know they just kind of more I can't sit down they talking vacuum. Every day now and then where I for don't do me research first. Go look at some historical, antecedents them so that when I talk, it will be backed up by that. Now that means nobody never challenge the integrity of what they do because I make sure of me grounds them. So this requires sacrifice. It requires time. For example, at a time like this now, for don't they rush go to the masjid, go and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tell her thank you for what you don't do. The mere father don't give me today, we I don't grab. But I say again, in as much as I get for do that, as soon as I did the broadcast on I do that, I say, well, see that come, una we fortunate enough for the day, for the WhatsApp, the Facebook and the YouTube, una they see and now when I come back from prayers, now I will do that for the rest of the people there. We're not fortunate enough for the day. I don't decide for accommodating. So una said do that sacrifice. Una say they can say adena cash up, adena Zelle. The same number una can send and the 240-413-1733. I will acknowledge them. Let we learn for Spain. Let we learn for support one another. Not to all time for be freebies. Free. No, it doesn't work. Now that they call the welfare mentality. The hand-me-down mentality. We cannot leave that. Let also learn, for because like I say, I can I do this all to myself. I just, but I mean, busy. People can't believe I hardly get time for God for doing any other thing. Because after one program, I therefore prepare for the next program. And how do you do this preparation? You go back, do some reading, find out, check, do this, do that. So, like I say again today, what did happen today? Nigeria, the citizens and where they want God Almighty, where He give them the strength, He give them the conviction, He give them the fearlessness. So you know what? Now write this. Now write. Una as citizens now write for demonstrate and protest. Now write Nandi. This right is not only God giving, but He also codified inside the Constitution. And even ironically, the man now where not one lady demonstrate that ASIWAJU BOLA TINUBU here also be part of demonstration against what we call bad governance. So how ironic and how hypocritical it would be if it prevents people from demonstrating against what they call bad governance. It's bad governance. Anyhow you look up. Bad governance. And this TINUBU government is just as corrupt because itself it don't sack a couple of people there. For example, the minister where be one lady when I be in charge of, when you call them social welfare, when I in charge of poverty and all that, he takes the money. He takes the money where for go to poor struggling citizens there. To the extent you don't get no job or part for firearm. So these are all the things there. So the TINUBU administration is just as corrupt, and not only corrupt, but very inefficient, even as they run a large bureaucracy. Even as they run a large, so the people have had enough of him. They had enough of this. And like I say, if TINUBU not ever sure say he is not going to be re-elected anymore, because like I said, you get a lot of factors the way they militate against her. although now where they lie, because they lie in everything, they lie in academic achievement, where he claims it yet, they lie by age. So now man look like a certified liar, then see. So look, I go look that man the day he talk about the ego CEB. I mean, what a shame. What a shame, Tinubu. What a shame. But that, but whatever happened, we want to commend the citizen. Now, because of the seriousness of waiting the happen in Nigeria and the importance of an America say, no, before I go pray, I can't do this before I go. So that me listeners and me supporters and fans and well wishers and then go follow. The way me come back later on in the day, definitely I go, make audio, because this again is going to take me a lot of time for make audio. Because I know you're doing one soup now. I'll get for the cut up small. Each one 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes until I able to do everything for done the whole program. So for wrap up again, now I can give a recap. The recap is everywhere in Nigeria, there's demonstration in take place. Now, so the people there for the waiting, the people they do, they not put the country for not to TINUBU APC party. No. Even I can vouch for sure. Say even members of the APC party, they also not part of that because they are citizens first, and this is what some of us stresses all along that. First, the narrative has to be you have to be a citizen of a nation first. You have to be a citizen of the nation first, and you put emphasis on the corporate well-being of your nation first. The corporate well-being of your nation becomes your primary consideration. It becomes your primary concern, not the political parties or the leaders. No. Not the political parties or the leaders, but the corporate well-being of the society that assumes overall dominance over everything else. So I really cannot be thankful to the citizens of Nigeria who have decided to brave, the rule of the Iron Man, the Iron Rule. They have decided to stand up to Mr. Tinubu's lethal forces. They've decided, the armed forces. So it is left with the Army Chief of Staff, General Lagbaja, and the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, to decide whether you're going to open fire on your fellow citizens at the behest of a very corrupt and inefficient government. This is a very informed decision. The leaders of the armed forces, these guys will have to understand the armed forces belong to the citizens. The armed forces is their personal property, the citizens. So in good conscience, you cannot unleash violence on the citizens. No, the armed forces cannot turn on the citizens. It is very unheard of. It is very undone. It cannot. So the advice to the Army Chief of Staff, General Lagbaja, and the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, the role of the armed forces, as often expressed, is that of the preservation of the territorial integrity of the sovereign nation from expansionist tendencies, from people with the knack to occupy, the space of others. That's your role. That's your role, to defend the territorial integrity of the sovereign nation from expansionist design or foreign intervention. This is entirely a matter for the civilian authorities to deal with. Mr. Tinubu has the answer to all of this. He has the answer. The citizens are not demanding that much. They are just calling the attention of Mr. Tinubu and his administration to the existential issues facing them. Cost of living, hunger, starvation, unemployment. the logic of lawlessness, the criminal violence, the epistemic injustice, and all the extra 9 yards. These are all the things. These are all the factors the citizens are just drawing attention to, letting Mr. Tinubu know that these things require his urgent attention and they have to be addressed. Mr. Tinubu will have to understand the fact that you cannot fight what they call the people's might. You simply cannot fight the people's might. The people's might is mightier than the combined armed forces of Nigeria. The people's might, we saw this in the Philippines. We saw that in Philippines. One individual, Mrs. Aquino, was able to mobilize the entire country against Mr. Marcos, Ferdinand Marcos. She was able to galvanize the citizenry in Philippines against the excesses of Mr. Marcos. They drove Mr. Marcos out of power. Similarly, so an old cleric, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, an old cleric, was able to mobilize. He was able to sensitize the psychological attitude of the citizens of Iran against dictatorship. In the end, they prevailed. The Shah of Iran had to leave for his death. He left Iran and never returned. We've seen this. The people's might, the people's might, the people's power is so potent that no forces can prevail over the people's might. That is what is beginning to show. That's what is beginning to show. The hope is that Mr. Tinubu reads. He gleans very useful lessons. He cannot resort to brinkmanship. He cannot unleash the armed forces on the people. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's not an option. Governments exist for the people, by the people, and with their legitimate consent. That's the theory of governance, of government. Because without the people, there's no government. There's no government. Let's face the fact. Governments only come into existence for the people and by the people. On their mandate, you rule. On their mandate, the people have rights to participate in the process of governance. And this is one way they're doing it. This is one way demonstrating, letting the political class, the body politic, letting them know their concerns, and they want these concerns to be addressed. They want them to be addressed. These are legitimate issues they bring in. So I cannot thank God Almighty enough for being very inspirational with the citizens of Nigeria, giving them the courage of conviction and fortitude to confront their tormentors, to confront their governance, demonstrating their disdain for the misdirection of the country. So finally, members of the armed forces, starting with the Chief of Army Staff, General Lagbaja, and the overall boss, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, please be very mindful of the fact that the ICCs out there looking for people who are, violating the human rights of fellow citizens. They are out there. Their eyes are in there, following what's going to happen in Nigeria. There are certain orders you cannot take it. There are certain orders You cannot turn the weapons on the citizens. No, you cannot. You simply cannot. That's not an option. Yes, the citizens also do have a responsibility here, or an obligation here, to ensure that their right to protest does not infringe on the preserves of the state. They have to make sure, in exercise of their God-given right, their constitutional right, their right to demonstrate does not infringe on the preserves of the state. It doesn't. That's not an option open to them. But when all is said and done, they have the right to do what they're doing. So the hope is Mr. TINUBU gleans very useful lesson from this. And if there's anything Mr. TINUBU should be now be looking at, he should be looking at the fact that this is the road to him being a first-term president, just like Mr. Goodluck Jonathan. It's as simple as that. He should not even conceive of thinking that he will run for re-election in 2027. No. The second events cast the shadow. This is what the citizens are letting him know, that no, don't even think of that. Don't even think of that. You should even consider yourself extremely fortunate if you were to take your first-term presidency to its logical conclusion. So don't even, because it is now crystal clear, it's now patently clear that you are ill-equipped to cope with the exigencies of the unprecedented challenges of the high office of president. This has been amply demonstrated that you are ill-equipped to cope with the exigencies of the unprecedented challenges of the high office of president. You simply cannot measure up. You cannot. So I came here today with the inspiration of God, through the divinity of God Almighty. I came here today to talk to my audience. And I'll be leaving here very shortly to go down the masjid and to say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And to testify to the fact that there is no other, being worthy of worship. Only Allah. Allah is the only deity that we can worship. So I'll be headed for the masjid to go acknowledge the supremacy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one that makes our wants is clear, immortal, invisible. The only wise God, Jehovah, to whom we honor and glory. We will beseech that he blesses and preserves us. We will ask that he causes his face to shine upon us and be mercifully gracious unto us. We will say that, we'll ask that he gives us a light. He holds the candle light before us. That he bless us and preserve us. And finally, the hope is that the citizens of Nigeria are able to prevail over their tormentors. Until then, very pleasant and blessed to you. And I hope the good Lord protects and guide all of us. Thanks.